Have you ever wondered how to cook mushrooms in microgreens correctly? I know that I have, and personally, I love both very, very much. Today, I'm here with Calvin Gardner, a UF IFAS Extension agent, and I am thrilled to introduce him to you. Calvin,
hi.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. I am so excited because I love mushrooms and microgreens, but I also realize I'm humbled because I don't know that much about them.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm here for today. I'll go ahead and walk you through a little bit,
Please
a fun
do.
recipe, and talk a little bit about some of the mushrooms that
Okay.
we have here today.
Okay.
So what we're going to be making today is a mushroom lettuce wrap here. It's going
Okay.
to be pretty simplistic. It can be dolled up in a lot of different ways after the fact, but today we're just going to do the basic form of it, which will just be mushrooms and some lettuce.
Okay, I love that. And what type of mushrooms do we have?
So today we have some cut up shiitake mushrooms right here, and those are ones that are basically currently grown on logs. They're a little bit more woodier. They have a little bit more bite to them. And then we're also mixing it in with some portobello mushrooms, which are just a very
Nice.
classic mushroom, and they bring a lot of that good flavor as well.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so I have them kind of more thicker sliced here so that there's actually something to bite down onto the lettuce wrap, and then we'll go ahead and throw them on. But first, we're gonna need to throw on a few things to kind of make it taste better.
Okay, all right.
So I have a few herbs already cut up in a little bowl here, and I'm gonna go ahead and put some oil into the pan. Just kind of get enough to flavor this with some olive oil. You could really use any kind of neutral oil. I just
Okay.
really love olive oil.
Yeah, I do too.
And then go ahead and we'll just get some of those down in there.
And
Just
what
kinda-
specifically is that?
So these right here that I'm blooming, I have a mixture of some ginger,
Ooh, okay.
and that's just always going to add some nice stuff. I don't like to add too much. It can get a little pungent.
Okay.
I have some Thai basil.
Wow, Thai basil.
So it grows great in Central Florida during the summer. It has more of like, I would say, a licorice flavor to it, but it just
smells beautiful.
Oh yeah, I just
Wow.
think it smells great. It'll smell up the room. So
I would never think to do that. So you have ginger and you have
Thai basil.
Thai basil. Okay, all right.
And then last but not least, I have some society garlic.
Oh my
So
goodness. Okay,
This
here we
right
are.
here is actually sometimes used as a common landscaping plant. It is beautiful. It
Really?
looks green year round, but you can cut off these little leaves here and wash them and chop them up real fine, and they give that similar garlic flavor.
Wow.
They sometimes will lose some of their flavor when they're cooked, so I like to sometimes throw them in at the end, but for this case, we're going to use them to kind of just get the flavor
Okay,
and
okay.
extract it. So
Okay.
one of my favorites, whenever I'm working in a landscape, I always like to kind of start with those because they're so easy maintenance, and then people can come, if they're not spraying them, they can come out there and cut some leaves off and add them to their dinner every time. So
Okay. And this is on just a medium heat.
this is on just a
Okay,
medium heat. I
easy.
kept it a little low at the beginning, medium low. I'm going to bump it up now that these spices are a little bit more
Okay.
aromatic. And then we're going to go ahead and throw some of our mushrooms.
All right.
So again, we have these shiitake mushrooms we're throwing in first. They are just a wonderful species of mushroom. They grow on oak. They grow on all sorts of kinds, but they really do love to grow on oak. And as they do so, they become a really good option for people living in Florida.
Okay.
Because just about every single year when we have hurricane season, everybody chooses to trim back their oak trees. And so because these are grown on oak logs, you could actually take some of those trimmings, as long as they're fresh, and
Stop it.
put the mushrooms on them
Wow,
and
I
get
would
them to
not know
grow.
that. Okay,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
So we are just going to fry up some of those to get some flavor. Maybe add a little bit more.
It smells so good.
Yeah,
All of it is so fragrant. It's really, really beautiful.
it does add a lot of that good flavor. And sometimes if you're not cooking them on a high enough heat, they will like to release a lot of water.
Okay.
And the reasoning behind that is just because these mushrooms are primarily water.
Oh, really?
When a mushroom starts out in when it's in its growing stage, it begins to build itself, and it starts out as a tiny, tiny little pin on top of a log or on top of whatever it's growing on, and it builds all of its cells all at once.
Oh, no way.
And then when it's ready, it takes all the water that's left in the organism and it pumps it in like a water balloon. And so it just kind of fills up to whatever size it needs to be, and then from there it kind of does what it needs to. So
Okay.
that's why when we cook them a lot, you're gonna get a lot of water in the pan,
Okay.
and they're
Wow.
sometimes a lot more wet.
I did not realize that. That is very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, so
That's
they.
beautiful. Okay. And what do we have here?
So while this is cooking up, let's
Yeah.
talk a little bit about our last addition to this.
Okay.
These are pea microgreens. So they are field peas, and they're a wonderful microgreen. So there are all different kinds of microgreens you can grow. These specifically grow in about 10 days.
Okay.
So I seeded these about a week ago.
10 days.
And they started to grow up. And what they do is they contain a lot of the nutrients that the plant would have, just in a much more condensed form.
Okay.
So very nutrient dense, and they have a good flavor on them. They taste kind of like a green bean, but a little bit sweeter.
I can smell it.
Yeah,
It smells wonderful. And are microgreens the same as sprouts, or sprouts totally different?
Sprouts are often different because a lot of times sprouts are grown in zero soil. Sometimes they're just
Oh.
kind of grown in a jar and spun around. In this case, we grow them directly in the soil for
Okay.
microgreens.
All right. All right. Very interesting. Okay. Beautiful.
So they are nice. They are really delicate a lot of times. Sometimes people won't even cook them. If they don't, I always suggest washing them really well and even maybe giving them a little spray with vinegar over the top and then washing it
Okay.
off again just for any microbes that could be on them. And then they'll toss them into salads, toss them in
Okay.
all sorts of stuff. So we're just going to give this a little bit more time while it cooks, and then we'll toss these on there.
So
And-
this is very nutrient dense. Between the mushrooms, you have the ginger, you have the garlic, and this is the
basil.
Yes, the basil. And then you have the microgreens. It's just very hearty.
Yeah.
It's just, that's wonderful.
Yeah, there's a lot. It's very satiating. There's going to be a lot to, chow down on here. Relatively low calorie, though, outside of the oil.
Okay.
The mushrooms don't typically have a high calorie count. So any kind of oils we're adding is really what's going to be the bulk end of the calories
Okay.
and the fats for this.
Okay, wonderful.
So next, you're just going to go ahead and get some soy sauce and go ahead and just kind of toss it in there. Let it kind of cook down a little bit. Flavor up some of these mushrooms here.
Make the mushrooms dance a little.
Make the mushrooms dance.
Oh,
Now you're
that's
just kind of
exciting.
giving them their last little bit of flavor.
Okay.
A little bit of vinegar
Oh, all
over the
right.
top for some acidity. And then
Wow.
last but not least, a little bit of brown sugar. And we'll just
Look at that.
get that over the top.
Calvin, this is amazing. I never would have thought of any of this. I love mushrooms, but I just had no idea. And so in order to have a mushroom flavor and to have that depth, it does cook a longer period of time. And then if somebody, like I like my mushrooms to taste very mushroom-like.
Yeah.
But sometimes maybe people want just more of the texture, and that's when you cook it for a shorter period of time.
Yes, a lot of the time
Okay.
we just, if we want to bite to it, we want to sear it more
Okay,
than we want to
all right.
actually hit it. So let's go ahead and take this off the stove. Now that's kind of cooked through. And we will grab ourselves some tongs.
Okay. See, I'm excited to taste this. I've always been intimidated cooking mushrooms at home. Maybe that sounds silly, but when I go out to restaurants, oftentimes I will order it because I always know that the chef knows what they're doing. But I think that I might want to get into the kitchen and give this a try.
Yeah, go for
Yes.
it. That's,
Okay, and I can't wait to have a little taste too. Wow.
Very good.
It's so simple.
it is. It's a quick
Okay.
weeknight meal.
Oh my goodness, I love that. Okay, we're gonna have a little taste then?
Yeah, let's
Okay.
go for it.
Doesn't this look beautiful? This looks beautiful. This looks beautiful.
Get yourself some iceberg lettuce, peel off some sides of it, and we'll just go
All right.
there.
I love it. I love it. Calvin, thank you.
Thank you for having
This
me.
is delicious. Wonderful. Please, please go home, get into the kitchen, and I encourage you to give this a try. Now we know more about mushrooms and microgreens and how to prepare a delicious meal. Until next time, we'll see you real soon.